Hi guys, how are you doing? Welcome to Charities Babu USA, your number one channel. I am here, guys, and I have a new topic. But before I go to the new topic, I want to thank all my subscribers. Guys, you guys are awesome. Sometimes I don't even know what to say. I can only thank you just for subscribing to my channel, watching my videos, and just, giving me the morale to create more videos. Welcome to my, if you're new here, feel at home, and the drill is you like my videos, ask a question, make a comment, make a compliment. As long as it's appropriate, anything is allowed in this space. Now, guys, today I'm going to talk about a topic that I have been asked by my viewers about if doctors can come and practice in the US and what process they have to go through. I talked about nurses on my previous video, and I feel like I should do this one. So it took me a while because I have to go to so many websites so that I could research and get the right information. So I have to read like so many websites so that I see if it's the same. That way, before I bring something here, I know that it's the right thing that I am saying. So today's topic, I'm going to talk about doctors. But before I go there, there was someone who asked me today on my live show why I haven't brought the bulletin, and I said that I will be bringing it every month. You find that the bulletin for February has not come out, and as soon as it is out, I am going to come here and I am going to talk about it, guys. But today I want to talk to that doctor who is in Africa who wants to come and practice here in the US. It is doable, but it takes a process, guys. Like I said, whether you are a doctor, whether you are a nurse, or any professional, and you are out there in Africa, it is hard, guys, for you to come and practice your profession as soon as you have come in here. It doesn't work like that because you need a license. Sometimes you need to do exams, and that is the same thing. And you find that for a doctor, it's much more. It takes much more time, and it takes much more energy to do it, and of course so much positivity, because you find that when you are coming to practice here in the US, it is a must that you will go back to school. You have to go back to school and study. Why are you studying? So that you can study in the American standards. It doesn't mean that whether you're practicing outside there as a foreign doctor, and it's not Africa, just Africa, you find that even other foreign countries, you find that for them to come and practice here in the US, they have to go to school so that they can know the American standards. So this information that I am going to provide here is not my information. I have gone to look in websites. So I'm just gonna cite the website that I found this information in. This one like was the most valid one that I read. So it's called med-smarter, a smarter approach to a career in medicine. So that is the one, and I'm going to put the link down there so that you guys can go and read more in it. So I'm just going to give an overview of what I found out. When you want to do or you want to practice medicine here in the US, it takes a while. It doesn't mean that you didn't go to medical school. You did. It doesn't mean that you do not have experience. You have experience, but when you come here in the US, you have to you have to go back to school. You have to do some 1, 2, 3 exams for you to be certified or you to get the license to practice here in the US. So and they will have you do additional courses that they believe that they are not taken by medical students outside the US. Another thing that will include clinical hours and coursework, because you have to go to class and study, and at the same time you have to go for clinical so that you can see how they do their things. That is even before you apply for residency. You go for classes. So you must complete additional hours on top of your degree to meet the requirements. Those hours for clinicals, those hours for going back to class to study, you have to do those ones. You have to do those ones. And of course, you have to pass licensing exams. After you have done all that, you have to practice to do licensing exams, the US medical licensing exams. I have to read. I'm reading. This is doctor stuff. I have to be accurate. That is why I am looking now, because I'm trying to read some notes that I made so that I am accurate in what I'm saying, guys. So I have to read this one now. So the first thing that you have to do is pre-med education, whereby you will go to get a college degree. So you need 3 years of pre-medical education. That is the first thing that you have to do. So if your mindset is like you want to come and practice in the US, just so you know that you have to go to school. That is the first thing, because they want you to add more clinical hours and more class hours, so that you can have the skill for US. You can be in the US mode. That's what I can say. You can be in the US mode. Okay, now make sure that you find a pre-med program that ensures that will take you to medic school. If you do not get that, if you have a bachelor's degree in biology, or if you have a bachelor's degree in chemistry, you find that you can qualify. You can qualify for that. Now, after that, and this is just a summary. I'm going to leave the website there so that you can read. Like, it's a lot of stuff, but I just gave you the summary of what you need to do. You will need to pass the US medical licensing exams. You need to be certified by Educational Commission for Foreign Trained Medical Graduates. You will need to be certified by that one. You also need to take and pass the third US medical licensing exam. And that one mostly is done here in the US territory. That one is mostly done here in the US territory. You find that, some of these things, like this website that I was reading from, they offer online classes. So you find that you can inquire with them. They even have a phone number there that you can call and get more information about it. So you find that you can still do all that. When you are wherever you are, you do some of these classes that they want, and you get familiar with it, and then from there, then when you are ready to do that exam that you have to do here, the third exam for the medical licensing exam, because that one you have to do in the US territory, then you can come in, because you find that, of course, you have to deal with immigration and all that stuff for you to be able to come in and practice. But it is doable, guys, because of technology. Technology has helped so much. It has really helped so much. But at the same time, you find that some of these things you will have to, especially when it comes to practicals. I know that the US way, sometimes their labs, they have labs that they have simulated, and you can do labs. Because I remember, and mine was just for nursing, that there was a class that I was doing anatomy and physiology, and I was not able to go to class because I just had a little baby. So I remember when I did my anatomy and physiology, I did it online, and I had this high-tech lab that I was doing online, and I was just doing like I was in class. Whatever that we would do in class is what I was doing online. So you find that those ways are there, but they will tell you, is it possible for you to do that class online? Is it possible for you to go to class? Is it, because you still have to navigate with the immigration, and I'm going to talk about the types of visas that you can use to come here, to come and practice. So you always have to be very, very familiar with that. Another thing is that you must speak and understand English fluently. Of course, you must have a basic understanding of science. Of course, if you have practiced as a doctor, that one is not going to worry you. And if you have practiced as a doctor, another thing, even when you go to class, even if you are required to go for that time, you find that if you are here in the US and you have to go to that time, you can take a job, a side job, you work it, and you're still going to school. Of course, if you are in college, or maybe if you came with a student visa, and I'm going to talk about different types of visas that you can come with, you find that you can talk to your school, and they can allow you to work as you go to school until you finish their requirements. Because before you practice, you must be able to meet all their requirements and pass the board exams, and then you practice. You find that this one is a little bit different. It's not, you cannot say that you are going to challenge the board exam as a doctor and come and practice. They are not going to allow you to do that. You have to go into the American system, study, go for clinicals, so that you are molded to become an American, a USA doctor. Another thing, you are also required to understand core requirements set by accredited colleges and the universities, because you find that even with these online programs, like the one that I was reading for, you have to make sure that it's accredited. That one, when you go to, you will not go for zero work. There are some that are not accredited. Hmm? Even nursing schools here, there are some that are not accredited, and you have to be very, very, very careful. You find that for accreditation to occur, now, like I'm going to give you an example of nursing school. You find that they have to be certified by the board. That when the students do the exam and they pass, like they will be given the license by the board of that state. So the same case with doctors. You have to make sure that the college that you are going to, or the college that you are applying for, your med school, because going to school for 3 years, that's not a short time. You have to make sure that it's an accredited school. And like I normally say, when you are coming here to study those anything related to healthcare, it is very good sometimes to look for an agency, because agencies, they have a lot of know-how, and they know how to guide foreigners very well. They know how, they have all the equipment to guide the foreigners very well, so that they can go to the right place. So it is always good to go through that route. Now, there's a statement that I want to read here that I was reading from that website. Whether you participate in a pre-med program or attend a college that does not offer one, these are the core courses that you must take. You must have these courses that you have done: chemistry introduction, molecular and cell biology, cell general biology, physics, calculus, college algebra, anatomy and physiology, principles of genetics, biochemistry, research writing, epidemiology, and human embryology. Oh my gosh. I do not want to be a doctor. Some of those are so hard. Oh my goodness. Doctors, for me, like, I have like so much respect for doctors, because a doctor can even tell you that you only have 6 months to live. And then in those 6 months, you find that sometimes you won't even reach those 6 months, you're dead. So I find that they have, so they oh my god, those people they are so smart. They're so smart. So even when I was doing this, when I was doing this video, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to really read about this and bring, the right way that I can talk to someone who is out there in Africa, and they think that they have that thought. A thought just comes in, and then you mold it, and then you hear from someone, and then you go and research. It's good to do research, and I know doctors do a high-tech research, and then you can try. It doesn't matter. For me, I know that a dream can come to reality. So it's very, 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 very important for you to do that. Now, there's another thing that they are talking about called ECFMG verification, and the degree is obtained by foreign medical graduates, and it is listed on the World Directory of Medical Schools. So when you go to the World Directory of Medical Schools, you will receive ECFMG verification. Then, of course, you complete you're missing a medical educational requirement, pass the licensing, and then after that you'll go through a residency program. You have to be a resident doctor for foreign medical graduates. So you have to be a resident doctor for that specific foreign medical graduates. Before now, you are an MD. You are on your own. You have to go through residency before you are on, and then from there you obtain final certification from ECFMG. I hope, because I'm talking to a doctor here, I hope that you'll go back to that website and we read more about it, so that you can know. So that you can know. Now, so the first exam that I said that you have to pass is the USMLE. That is I had written that whatever US medical licensing exam, step 1, and then you do USMLE step 2, clinical knowledge. You have to do the clinical knowledge, and then clinical skills requirement. That is to practice medicine in the US after graduating from medical school in another country, and also you must pass USMLE step 2, that is the clinical. So it's kind of, it's a lot, but for doctors, I know if you have practiced, even if you are a foreign doctor, something like anatomy and physiology never changes, because the person's body is not going to change. Some of these, I'm looking at them, I'm like, if something like biology, it never changes. Maybe it's taught differently here in the US, but you find that it might relate with what you learned wherever that you are. So it might not be very hard It's not like for a student who is just starting, I'm a first year medical student. If you have practiced as a doctor, I know that it's gonna be easy for you to do, but you find that you have to go through all these for you to be certified, to become or to practice doctors, to become a doctor. And of course, before you even become like a doctor, you have to go through residency. And I'm not saying that a resident doctor is not a doctor. It's still a doctor, but you find that before you become an MD, you have that name there, MD, whatever. You have to go through residency. So that is just an overview, guys, of how you can come here and become a doctor. Now, the other thing that I'm going to talk about is visas, because you find that when to come here in the US, you need a visa. So there are several types that I'm going to talk about, and you can still go back and just see like the one that maybe you can use to come here. You can use a H-1B visa, but you find that for you to have a H-1B visa, that means that you have been offered a full-term employment, and you must have a medical license to practice. You see what I mean? You have a medical license to practice here in the US, and for you to get a H-1B visa. So sometimes that one can be hard to get, because see, there's this exam that they say that you have to come and do in US territory, the last one. So you find that one sometimes can be a little bit harder, but there's still a process that can be used for you to get that one. Now we have the most popular one. The most popular one, and the easier one, I would say that who's a little bit easier, is the J1 visa, whereby this one allows a physician to enter an exchange program that includes attending medical school or starting residency at a US medical establishment. So that one can be a little bit easier, because you find that you're coming as a student. You're coming as a student. So that one, through that route, that one is a little bit easier. And then you find that for that one, you have to know that you have to, after the time of residence, the time that you're coming to study, or the time that of the residency or whatever that you're coming to do, you find that after that term is finished, you have to go home for a minimum of 2 years before you come back to the US for in a different type of visa. Maybe you came and you practiced your residency, or maybe you came, you did your test and whatever, and then now you want to come back and become a resident. You have to stay outside for 2 years before you re-enter US. Now, unless you have a waiver, and the waiver is maybe you married a US citizen or a US permanent resident, and maybe they had something like extenuating circumstances that you have to stay with them because it's your family, maybe. But you find that one requires for you to go home, stay for 2 years, and then ask for another visa and then come out. But nobody find that doctors, they, you have gone to school, you have learned. It's not going to be hard for you to get another one, as so long as, immigration, what I've learned and what I've read about immigration is that if you get the visa for the first time and you do not violate it, you follow the steps that they're telling you to do, you find that when you go back to them to ask for a visa, they will give you, because they see that this person, they did what they were required to do. If you follow the instructions, you find that you will get it back. The other one is that you can come with another type of visa. It's called an E2 non-immigrant visa, whereby this one is whereby there are treaties that are done with the US and other investors or people, or whereby they say that maybe you can come to the US and set up a business, and like you navigate through that way. But you find that if you want to come through that one, and maybe you are coming as an investor, you find that you as a person, you must be like a 50% here shareholder of that whole business thingy, or maybe you have whatever, you have a more percentage on that, like you control the shares of that company or whatever. You have to have more shares, or you have to have a 50%. That's another one. But that one you have to be very rich, guys. If you want to come maybe and start a clinic or a hospital, oh my gosh, you have to be very rich. Now, there's another one, an L1A or L1B visa. This one is for like companies, and I've talked about this one, I think, in another video, whereby you find that there is a company there, whatever that you are in your country, and then there's another company here that is the same as the one that you are in your country. So normally what happens is that they send you, it's like a transfer that you're coming from. So you're moving from one location to an overseas location that is there. But you find that for you to be able to move, you must have like an experience of 1 to 3 years before you are even considered for that one. Now, So that is, and then of course you have to make sure that you're moving to an existing place. So that's why I said maybe there's a company there that is the same as a company here in the US. So that's another type of visa that you can use. And then there's another one called the EB1 visa. Now this one is for the extraordinary people. Like here we have this doctor who is in charge of COVID. That guy. That guy is so smart. I just look at him on TV and I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy goes even to advise the president. Like he's in charge of all that stuff. So if you have like something like that, maybe you have media exposure, maybe you have a very high salary, maybe you are in charge of an epidemic, all that stuff, or maybe you have produced books, scholarly books that are being read, or maybe you are head of a certain research somewhere, you know what I mean? So if you have like those skills, and people know you're known in the media, and like all that stuff, you are extraordinary. There are those visas that extraordinary people are given by US, because when you are extraordinary in whatever that you do, you find that when you come to the US, you will be a benefit. So you find that you can have that whatever EB1 visa, or maybe you won an award as a doctor. You got a Nobel Prize. So you find that you can be considered to come with that visa, but everything that you are coming to, especially with those visas, you have to prove. Like for the EB1, the L1A, you have to, and even the A2 non-immigrant visa, the one that I said that you're coming to set up a business, you have to have proof. You always have to have proof. Even something like a J1 visa, you have to have proof of something like a bank statement. And why do you need a bank statement? You need a bank statement that shows that you will be able to pay for your school fees, because you are a student. So when you're a student, they expect that you are able to pay your school fees. So you find that if you get a visa, maybe it's an account, it has to be current. Like when the statement has to be current, you cannot take a statement to the embassy, like a statement for 1 month ago or whatever. It has to be current. So let's assume that you are going for your interview on a Friday. You have to make sure that that whatever that statement is 3 days. It's 3 days. It's not more than 3 days. And of course, it's always good to take maybe it's from a family, or maybe it's your bank statement or whatever. And if it is from your uncle, or maybe it's from your aunt, or a relative who is not within the nuclear family, then you have to be able to explain, why is your uncle paying for you for your school fees? Because sometimes they will ask you such a question, why is your uncle paying for your school fees? So you have to be prepared to answer such questions, especially when you go to the embassy, because they will be like, oh, this is the uncle, why are they paying for them? Because you find that, like I tell you, here in the US is very different. It's very, very different. You find that the extended family doesn't really, it's not a matter of help. In Africa, you find that the kids, when they grow up, they take care of the parents. Now you find that here is a little bit different, because it's not a must. There are some who do take care of their parents, but I would say like majority, they don't. And you find that even some people, they don't even have kids, so they don't have anybody to take care of them. And that is why the government has set up some avenues whereby when you grow old, you'll have your social security for that to take care of you when you are old. And if you're old and that social security is gone, you find that there are still avenues that you still can get help. You see what I mean? So you find that it's a little bit different. So the consular can ask you, why is your uncle paying your school fees? Because that is not the norm here in the US, because they follow what their norms and their traditions here in the US. So you find that when you have a bank statement for a relative who is outside or who is in the extended family, you have to always be able to explain. I find that sometimes you might even go with a bank statement for a company or for a corporate, and they refuse it. Why? Because you find that one is for a certain organization. And I'm saying this one because this one I really know. I remember, and I don't know if the rules have changed so much. I remember my own brother had gone, he was coming, he wanted to come and study here in the US, and he had a bank statement for another guy who gave him, and that guy had he had a school. So he was kind enough to give him the bank statement, but that itself made him to be denied the visa, because they told him this one is for an organization. You need a bank statement for an individual who is willing to pay for for your fees. So you find that you always have to look at all those dynamics when you are going to look for a visa, because at the end of the day, you find that immigration will always be a hurdle. That is what I feel. But you find that when you go to the interview, you present yourself correctly, your documents are in order and they are up to date, and whatever that you are told to do. And that's why it's always important. That's why I'm saying look for an agency that can help you. And I'm going to talk about that more about the agencies in another in another session, to see like which agency like is is recommendable. I have to go back, go look and see which one can be recommendable, so that even before you apply, you inquire. It is always good to inquire so that you can get the right information. So guys, I hope that this video is gonna just give you like some shed some light on the questions that you have been having. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me, and I will try all my best to answer your questions. So guys, I will see you in another video. Thank you and God bless you.